What's going on, everybody? We are back, the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, aka The Whip Show on 106.1 FM, WAKT Toledo's community radio station. And I got my guy back on the show. It's been a minute, but now the show isn't amazing. The show isn't outstanding. The show is fabulous. Because I got my guy, Johnny Fabulous, aka Mr. John Cena Sr. And we definitely can see him. What's going on, man?
Glad you said that.
Oh, man. How you been, brother? It's been a minute.
I'm doing good, brother. I've just a couple of wrestling shows coming up. I got one tomorrow night. Got Sabu on the card. If good old Sabu. I think the world of that guy. And then I got a show the 28th with Teddy Goods. It's going to be kind of fun.
Salute, man. And matter of fact, let the people know. And that's what they want to talk about. People think they hear John Cena's dad. They think you're a regular dad. Like, you know what I'm saying? The old guy that pats his son on the back and says, good job. They don't know that Cena got all this from you, man. So tell them about your promotion and everything, man.
Well, tomorrow night I'm in Peabody, Massachusetts. It's on, I believe, 7 Bradley Street or Bradley Ave in Peabody, Mass. It's a good card. It's a stacked card. But my good buddy Sabu is going to be there. I don't think he's going to wrestle. He might manage, but I tell you what, I wouldn't miss that show. Then I got one the 28th with Teddy Goods in Warwick, Rhode Island. It's a fundraiser. You can check them both out on my tweet. And also you can check out Ted Goods Wrestling Live.
Oh, man, sounds like an amazing card. I literally just saw Sabu. He's up from my way, up in the Michigan area. And he was just at we had a big Comic-Con here, Astronomicon, and the fans are going crazy for him still, man.
He's one of a kind. You will never find another Sabu. What do they say? Lou Albano's book, often imitated, but never duplicated. You will never find a man like him again.
You ain't lying, man. You ain't lying. So you're talking about who's on the show. What are you going to be doing, Commish? What are you going to be doing part of that show?
Well, the last time I actually got involved in a match and did an attitude adjustment. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow night. I hope it's just going to be a nice little managerial job. I just did one with Enzo Amore. That was so much fun. Enzo is so much fun to work with. And Mr. Kennedy was there. I haven't seen him in a while. But Enzo was easy. I just went up against this kid from New York who thought he was an ace on the stick. He found out that he met somebody a little bit better, and we had a lot of fun. I didn't have to take any bumps. Any bumps. It was beautiful.
Perfect, man. Perfect, man. Now, that's something else I want to say. I just talked about Sabu and the guys doing cons. How come you don't hit the con trail, or do you?
Nobody ever invites me.
What?
Yep. So if I'm invited and I get a plane fare out of it, I don't even take a booking fee. I'm there.
Seriously.
I
want to put some words out there to people for the next, because this con season is coming up real strong, man. I'll put some words out there. They don't think you want to come. That's crazy, though.
Well, I don't get any calls. Wrestling shows, yeah. I do public speaking for the kids on motivation and stuff like that. I get calls for that, but very few Comic Cons, nothing.
Seriously, okay. I'm gonna put some word out there. I'm gonna put some feeders out there to my people, man.
Well, you're my manager. You're my manager. You take care of it.
I got you, man. I got you. Now, I also want to talk about, I know you do a lot of work lately and me on his show a lot. My boy, the Star Maker, Kenny Bolin, man. Such a great dude, man. He's a wild boy, though, but he's a great dude, man.
Kenny Bolin. I got to tell you, that John's first manager down there at OVW. And Kenny, I got a call from Kenny. I guess it was maybe 2 years ago. He thought there was heat between he and I because he had cut a promo. Well, being in the business, you know what a heat or a shoot is. And it was just, it was Kenny Bowen being Kenny Bowen. So I said, Kenny, absolutely not. He said, would you come on my podcast? I said, Kenny, just like whatever I can do for you, I'm more than happy to do it, And next thing I know, I didn't end up doing one. It's like I'm doing one a month. And so, but the trouble with Bolin, and I love that man, you talk about anything and everything. And I mean anything and everything. So Kenny's a funny guy. I said, Cena Senior, he said, probably be no more than a half hour. Okay, we start at 8 o'clock, right? 12:30, I think it's time to hang up.
So, hey, guys, I'm going to tell you, definitely Kenny Bolin, legendary manager in OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling, but he is absolutely true because actually the connection, you were just on my show prior to that, and then I told him about I had you. He was like, oh yeah, can you connect me? And that's when he said he thought you guys had heat. And I reached out, you were like, no, no, but you are right. I had Kenny on my show. I said, Kenny, we're going to do 20 minutes. First of all, Kenny could talk. It might have turned from the Whip show to the Kenny Bolin show because he was running off stuff, and we did about 3 hours, man.
That's Kenny Bolin.
YouTube would not even let me put the show on in one piece. I had to put it down in 3 parts because you can't upload more than like an hour and a half on YouTube, man.
That's the Bolin, man. They don't come any better than Kenny Bolin, I'll tell you right now.
Love the king, man. The original king, Kenny Bolin, man.
He does a lot for the people of the Philippines.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah, we raised some money. I sent him some autographs that I had of John. We auctioned those off, and he was able to get a house built, get some rice for those folks, and they actually took care of a sick uncle, I believe. So he's one of a kind, one of a kind.
Absolutely, man. If you guys never have, make sure you check out his podcast. He pretty much does shows like every other day also. So you can never, you can never miss it. I mean, just go to his page. He's on live whenever. So for real, check it out, man. But I do want to talk about, since you brought up John, he was at WrestleMania 40. Did you get a chance to actually watch it, man?
I had a chance to catch that. I did. I was pleased at what I saw, and I will say this: of all the WrestleManias I've seen, I think 40 was probably the best. It was exceptional. There was a couple of matches in there that I thought, I expected more from the Uso match.
Yeah.
That was very disappointing, very disappointing. And I thought that one of the women's matches was a little bit off. Outside of that, you couldn't ask for more on that show. They gave their blood, sweat, and tears. And when that final match came up, I was kind of hoping it would be Cena that would attitude adjustment The Rock.
Okay.
But the man, and I got nothing but good words for The Undertaker.
Yeah.
You couldn't pick a better man to end that guy's career. Bang! Man. He did that right up there and chokeslammed him.
Yes, it was. And actually, I was blessed to have media passes throughout the weekend for WWE for WrestleMania week. So that was awesome. But we were in that press box. And one thing about press box people, let me say this. Sometimes they try to act a little tight. You know what I mean? ESPN, TNT. But let me tell you, that main event, you had everybody popping. You had all these people that are super journalists, because I'm just a wrestling guy. But they were throwing up the Roman Reigns one. People that was going for Cody was loving Cody. People were stopping. They weren't eating their food so they could cheer for John Cena when he ran out there. That's the energy that was in that box, man.
I was amazed. I was amazed. When his music hit, it was like, it's going to be a Cena thing, you know? Wow. I tell you, God bless all of them, every single one of them. They gave 100% to that show, and they couldn't have had a better ending.
Absolutely, man. And I want to go there a little bit too. The future of pro wrestling moving forward, I think is in real good hands. What do you think, man?
The current WWE situation?
Yes, yes.
I would have to concur 100% with you, my brother. They are in very good hands. You've got a man at the helm, and Vince is a tremendous man. I have nothing but good words for Vince. We all make mistakes in life, right, and we all should look in the mirror before we start to spit.
Thank you.
But Paul has got a great understanding of this business. You can see by the product that's being produced. There's no more nonsense being brought to the screen. It's all good old-fashioned wrestling.
I totally agree, man. I'm such a fan of Triple H. I can't wait to see what he does in the future. But speaking of wrestling and other promotions, about 2-3 months ago, I sent you a picture that somebody shot of you in a promotion other than WWE sitting in the front row, man. What was that all about? You were about to go viral because they thought John Cena was jumping ship and going to AEW.
You know, I was just at a wrestling show Saturday night, and I don't know if you know Elio Markopoulos.
Not familiar.
He's an indie wrestler. He's really good. And so he cuts this promo. You can see it on YouTube, and it's like, oh, we have a celebrity in the group tonight. It's Mr. A.E. No, it's John Cena Sr. Look, when I went to that show, I love wrestling like you do. I want to see them all. I love it that much. And I want to support the men and women who give us that entertainment day in and day out. And so I was asked if I would like to attend. And I said, of course, why not? I was getting emails. You're on, and if you read on some of the dirt sheets, John Cena Sr. was backstage.
Yeah.
John Cena Sr. was going to be part of the show. Let me tell you something, brother. I was in the front row, and that's where I sat on my ass all night in that front row. I was never backstage. Nobody asked me to be in that show. I've been to 2 other AEW shows, and I enjoy them immensely. Have I been to a WWE show? Not recently, but there's one coming in July in a Raw in Boston. You can bet your bottom dollar if I can get tickets, the old man's going to be there.
Nice,
I'm
nice.
being there. I haven't jumped ship on anybody. I just enjoy wrestling.
And you're right about those dirt sheets. And some of them forgot to even put senior on their headline. So all they had was John Cena's at All Elite Wrestling.
That was like, oh, wow. I was getting emails from people. What's your son? He's going to be on AEW. I said, which son? I have 5. You know the one? I said, well, no, I know the old man's going to be there, but I can tell you right now, John Cena Jr. is WWE for life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He actually made a statement here recently saying that I think he's might be coming towards the end of his career, but he got a little bit left in him. What do you think about that?
I would say he's got a lot left in him. I think what he's doing is he's looking at his age, and he's looking, which all of us do. You know how this business is.
Mm-hmm.
You can only bump so long, and your body tells you,
Yep.
I can't bump anymore. And I think, being where I was and the people I worked with, I looked at some of the fellows that God rest his soul, Walter Kowalski, that guy could just barely walk sometimes. So, and I look at Sabu,
Yeah.
all the bumps that man has taken, his body has paid the price. And I think what he's looking at is, one, excuse me, as he says 100 times, if I can't perform at 100% and give the crowd what they deserve, then I think it's time to take a step back.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's looking at. I think he's looking at a lot of things, age, situations, where he is now in his life. And again, if you can't give 100%, then you not only fail yourself, but everybody else that's come to see you. So I think he's got a lot of tank left in the gas, and the gas in the tank. How's that? I'm getting a little dyslexic here. But I think that's where he's headed for that. I think he's a realist.
Yeah.
And I don't think you will ever see Junior leave the WWE. And when he says he's WWE for life, I can tell you can believe that.
That's what's up, man. And I know what you just said, but it's also scary, man, in the sense that 50 years old now is totally different than 50 years old 30 years ago. I mean, you talked about him. You talked about, and even look at The Rock, looking absolutely amazing at 52 years old, going in there with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, who are at the prime of their career, man.
And he took him to school.
What?
He took him to school, and he was in there saying, look, you may be your age, but take a look at me. I still got gas in the tank. And people look at me and they go, you're still in taking bumps, even though I manage, I'll take a bump here, a bump there. And
yeah.
I say, yeah. They say, not bad for a 55, 65-year-old guy. Well, I'm telling you right now, brother, June 18th of this year, this man turns 80.
Wow.
And I'm still playing the game. I can't play it the way I used to because, as you know, the body tells you want to, and the mind says it's okay. But when you finally get in there, you go, oh, shit, my knee, my arm.
Yeah.
So you slow down. But I'll tell you, age is a number, and you're right. It's all a mental state. And I think, though, what happens with a lot of the young ladies and men in this business is they take such a pounding. When you look at the early days of pro wrestling, they didn't do the things that these young men and women do today. You'd never see anybody off a 20-foot ladder. That match in Canada with John and Edge, I was there for that. You'd never see anybody go from a 20-foot ladder through a table, 3 tables. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And they bounce on those floors. They smash into the turnbuckles. Their bodies must take a beating. How long will that last? And I think, just my own personal opinion, I think at some time in life, you have to realize that there's life after wrestling.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't do that. And I think it's a hard decision to make. But if you digress, like Dwayne Johnson, look what he did in the movies. Look where he's gone with his productions. Look what he's done. He said, I still love what I do, but there's something after what I do.
Yeah.
So, and I think that if you think that way, you'll be fine because again, your mind tells you, yeah, I can still go in there and bump and take a chair shot and hit a rail. But when you're 80, that when you hit that ring post, it doesn't feel like it did when you were 55 or 40.
Mm-hmm. It's funny story you said that. I just told you they had a big con here in our area. So Mankind is there, and you know how his body is. Kane. So I go to interview Kane, and Kane's sitting in this chair, right? So I have to bend down to talk to Kane because he doesn't stand up. And we do our little interview. I get up, my knee almost starts hurting. It goes out. Kane says to me, "Are you okay, brother? Do you need some help?" So I get it, man. I get it. It ain't the same as when I was 21. I could just pop, and I'm just a former indie guy and a reporter now, so I get it, man.
Glenn Jacobs is I tell you, there's another gentleman, in my opinion, never will replace Glenn Jacobs.
Absolutely.
Never replace Kane. Never replace The Undertaker. You know, you look at some of those older wrestlers out there, you can never replace them. Ever, ever, ever. You know, and Kane's one of those guys that he was another one that just kept going, kept going.
Yeah.
Him and Mark had a great situation with that brother thing going. The matches they had were outstanding. But there's a guy that, you know, I don't see him do much in the ring, but he's always at the Comic Cons or awards. He's a great human being. He's got a big heart.
And there's, like you said, they were so smart, especially their latter years of how they ran their matches. They gave the people what they wanted, but they didn't do anything crazy that would cost them 10, 15, 20 years down the road of their body or their life.
Smarter, not harder. And that's what the young folks in this business don't understand. They all got to get out there and do that fancy, schmancy stuff. And I said to one guy coming off a ladder onto a baseball field, I said, "You're trying to make it to the big leagues." I said, "Man, you keep this up, you're going to make it to a hospital. That's about as far as you're going to get." So they don't understand you can get as much out of a match by doing nothing and still get them on their feet. I mean, they don't understand that. They just don't seem to get it. And if you look at how the older workers work today, you think they're giving you hell and they're barely working, but it looks great.
I mean, let's talk about Mick Foley. Yes, he did get thrown off the top, but if you remember, after that, that was the last big spot he took for the rest of his career, and he got more time, a longer career with doing Sacco than he did all that crazy stuff that he did.
I can tell you, I've taken Mr. Sacco. I don't know how many signed Sacco socks I've got here, and Mick and I are very good friends. He plays Santa Claus, and so do I. And he had a great comedy show going. I don't know why he stopped doing that, but there's another outstanding individual that really, really put his life on the line every show he did for the fans.
Yeah.
And, you know, he put his heart and soul into it, but his body took a hell of a beating. And, you know, he's got a problem. I think the last thing I heard was that about concussions.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he took you look at some of those chair shots he took. You remember the one he did with The Rock where he was handcuffed? Only supposed to take one. He took 6. And his wife and children were in the audience, and they're in tears. But how much can your head take, man? And those were straight on.
Yeah.
And you can see Dwayne every time I pick that chair up going, I don't want to do this. Right. Bang, hit him again. Yeah. So Mick was when you talk about old school, hard school, that guy was out there and he performed every single night.
Yeah, man. That's why, since we're talking about this, I like Darby Allin, but Lord, I say all the time on the show, Darby Allin from AEW, please, you don't have to do all that crazy stuff. I don't know if you saw that last match he had with Sting. I know you know what I'm talking about. That spot that's been going, everybody's still talking about through the glass, bro. For what?
Yeah.
For what?
You know what? First of all, I don't know how you feel. I watched that and I said, why? Yes. Why did you do that? It didn't have a place. It really didn't have a place. And Darby Allin is the kind of guy that goes out there and he wants to do all this high flying stuff. And I guess he just says, when it's done, it's done. But man, do you realize when he went through that glass, the chance you took, it wasn't even sugar glass.
Right.
That was glass.
Did you hear that? It was, the fans are suing because when he did the spot, the glass got on some of the fans in the front row.
I remember when John was in UPW, some of the stuff they used to do with those fluorescent tubes and pieces of glass. I'm going, wow, that's just, you don't need that. And I looked at that match with Sting and Darby for the retirement. I'm going, he's not going to. He's not. Yeah, he is. And he did. And I heard the glass break. And if you look at him, you could see the glass in his skin.
Mm-hmm.
You could see it. And I'm going, for what? And I guess at the end, when they finally brought him back, he didn't have all those kinds of injuries. He had a few gashes, but still crazy. All it would have taken was one sliver to find that jugular vein, one sliver to get underneath his arm where that artery is. He'd have been finished, or slice a piece of the spinal cord. It just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
Didn't make
yeah.
sense at all.
Especially in a match that was Sting's retirement match. You know what I mean? So we're trying to put the shine on Sting, not necessarily you, but I don't know, man.
No,
But
I'm with you. I'm with you. I still don't know why that was in there. I don't know why that was allowed. But he did it for whatever reason. Thank you, God. He got up and walked away from it.
yeah, for sure, man. Now, I want to talk about that a little bit also. We're going into AEW, man. You've been to a couple shows, like you said. What do you think about the current product right now? Because a lot of people are trying to, wrestling fans, they love something, then they hate something. They love something, they hate something. And they're in that weird wave where they're talking bad about All Elite Wrestling these days. They want to take pictures and say the arena isn't full. What do you think about that, man?
Well, first of all, I can tell you that the arena not being full, somebody must need my glasses, because when they were in Boston at the Boston Garden, the old Boston, the new
Yeah,
Boston Garden out back north, that place was full. It was full. The last time I was at Boston Garden, I think there was probably maybe 9,000 people there. That's a good house.
yeah,
And I think what I see with AEW is it's got a decent product, but the storylines, a lot of them just don't seem to, it's like the Don Callis situation. If I were writing that, I would probably have find somebody to go against the Don Callis family. So I watched AEW last night. What's the first thing John Moxley says? The thing I said. He's lying. He's filling these guys full of crap. Basically, the storyline. I'm here to save you. So he's going to break up the Don Callis family. What a great storyline there. They've got a great storyline going with Swerve Strickland and Samoa Joe.
yes, yes.
That I don't know what's going to happen at the pay-per-view. And I think Swerve Strickland is one of a kind. What an outstanding worker that young man is. Boy, I'll tell you, if anybody deserves that belt, he does. But you know what? Me as a writer, I'm not going to give it to you, Swerve. You know why? Because you're better off chasing it than
Yes,
you are wearing it.
yes,
See?
yes.
And let Joe, and Joe was at UPW with John, let Joe be the guy that Joe is. And let him be that, and you just keep whacking and hacking. And then maybe 6 months down the road, take the strap off him.
It's essentially the Cody Roman thing they can do over there.
Oh,
Roman ended up being the biggest thing in the world. So when Cody finally got him, come on, man.
yeah. But you know what? Because they finally, and I said this when Roman Reigns first started, I was not a Roman Reigns fan. And I used to do a lot of podcasts with and on TV with God rest his soul, Dan Marati, Boston Wrestling. And I made it a point to say the problem with Roman Reigns is not Roman Reigns. The problem is the storyline they've got him into. They should have started him out as a tweener, and then they should have turned him heel because that's what he's best at.
Yeah.
And now they're going to turn him face. Now's the time to turn him face because for 3.5 years he proved what an SOB he could be and how he could run the bloodline.
Yeah.
So now we got the old bloodline. We got the new bloodline with Solo Sakai as the new tribal chief, supposedly. Yep. Guess how many storylines we got out of that one?
Man, you listen. You got about 5 more years of stuff they can twist and turns they can do now. People thought it was over at WrestleMania. So much more they can do.
No,
so much more they can do.
Just begun. And you wait. And I said this. I think the world of Cody Rhodes, when I was getting the shit kicked out of me by Randy Orton in the ring, that when I did that main event, who came down and tried to save me? Cody Rhodes. But the crowd, unless there's something spectacular there, okay, you did what we wanted you to do. Somebody's got to beat the tribal chief.
Yeah.
He did it. He did it. Now they've got to think about what do we do with Cody Rhodes to keep him on that ladder, that high spot he's in. because what's going to happen? You know how wrestling fans are.
Oh,
We love you
fickle.
today.
Yeah.
Let's go Cena. Cena sucks.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. And so maybe what they ought to do with Cody is keep that strap on him. And I'm a firm believer. I don't know how you all feel about it, but you don't have a strap on somebody for 30 days or 2 months. You keep it on them for 6, 8 months,
Yeah.
maybe a year, and it means something. And so maybe Cody turns heel or whatever. But the kid's got a lot of charisma. He's a good draw right now, but he did what nobody else could do, and that was take out the tribal chief.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one thing I didn't like about the situation with that, and I'll be right up front with you, and I would be interested in your opinion on this. I like what The Rock did, but I think he took the shine away from Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes.
Oh my God. Okay, yes, I totally agree. Most shows have been saying that as well. Charles Barkley from TNT was just saying, I understand how good Cody is. I understand how Roman is. But The Rock is so much bigger of a presence than any professional wrestler in the world. I mean, not even just physically. Aesthetically, he's bigger. His whole demeanor is just because he's the one guy they let say whatever. Let's be honest. He's totally free in how he can do whatever he does.
You
Everybody
said
else
it.
has to run things past. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because of that, I really do think it hurt Roman. And Roman didn't even really show he was a tribal chief until like the last week of the buildup.
I hear
I
you.
mean, and the way he did Cody, I mean, essentially, yes, Cody has the title, but Cody really didn't get any retribution for real, if you ask me, on The Rock himself. And even, like I said, I'm down there. I'm in Philadelphia in media day. So we're at Raw. The next night, Rock is still talking to him like he's his son. What did he tell Cody? Let me see that belt. Why would Cody even let him touch the belt after he just beat you, talked about your mama, and whooped you like a child? I would not, there would have been no shaking hands. You should have been trying to jump on a rock right there. Am I wrong?
You are 100% right because you see the storyline. It would
Yeah.
have been, you're not touching this belt. As a matter of fact, if you want it, come get it. And that would have set up the match between which everybody wants, The Rock and Cody Rhodes. But you got to develop that storyline a little bit further because
I
The
agree.
Rock now is going to be shooting a movie. So what are they going to do? They're going to bring him back in for a one-time shot to put over Rhodes? Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
And that night on Raw, he said something to the degree of, I have to go away. If I'm Cody, I'll make fun of that or talk about the fact that, oh, you got to leave again. Now, but whenever Rock's not there, because going forward to SmackDown, now Cody has so much to say about The Rock. When he's not face to face with him. This
See,
is your I don't agree with that at all, man. You're right up to ooh.
there you go, running away again. You got a big mouth. You're pretty good when it comes to shooting your mouth off, but when it comes to putting the cards on the table, you don't have a hand to play. So
Yeah.
now you're going to run away and shoot another movie. Well,
Yes.
maybe we'll watch the movie and burn the celluloid, because if you can't come and do what needs to be done, let's do what's good for business, Rock, not shoot a movie, but let's get in a squared circle and show them where it's at.
That right there. Now,
Yeah.
I gotta say again, we're talking about Cody, and you brought it up a little bit. The fact that his next challenger, like you said, I'm worried about the fans. They're doing a tournament right now. Come on, man. That was what you guys had planned next. When you got Randy Orton in your back pocket, there's a story there.
Randy Orton, you get Sami Zayn, and now they're bringing back Mr. Howdy. So
Yeah.
you're going to have, the God rest his soul, Bray Wyatt. You're going to bring back that type of situation again. There's so much out there, and they're letting it just go by. There's no need of a tournament, And I guess the reason they're doing it maybe is he's probably fought everybody already.
Yeah.
And it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough road for Cody to haul because of the situation he's put in right now.
And don't forget one thing, and I'm gonna tell you, I was at all these events, even SmackDown when they came to Detroit this past Friday. Yes, Cody is over, but then you got guys like Jey Uso who are super over. You're going to mess around and have one of your under guys pass Cody because Cody, and I hope it doesn't happen, Cody might stop being cool. It happened to him in AEW. And Jey Uso might end up being the guy that's cool again. We know they can make Sami Zayn hot again. We know that. So I just worry about Cody in that spot, man.
I think you hit the nail on the head, my friend. That's a concern that I have. I would concur with you 100% because you've got those guys in the background, but when you have those guys that are more over than your man with the belt, then I think you got a problem.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Well, you know what? I do got to get out here. We're not going to keep you all night, man. But as always, it's a pleasure,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Fabulous, for coming on the show. But just like always, I can't leave because this is the first time you're on my radio show. So I got to ask my favorite segment. It's called the Mark Out Moment. And like I said, always, it's not where you go screaming. It's not where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this. But that one moment that you're part of the wrestling world, or somebody knew you, or you met somebody. But that one moment, Johnny Fabulous was like, wow, this is it. I'm here. I can't believe this. What was your mark out moment?
I guess you know what? My mark out moment when I finally had the chance to meet Bruno Sammartino, God rest his soul, one on one. That to me was, I grew up watching that guy when I was a kid. He was so over in Boston, and I remember people breaking chairs in Boston because then you had wooden chairs. They were putting their feet through chairs, and I was at WrestleMania, and who shows up? But Bruno Sammartino. I tell you, I just went like, wow, it's Bruno Sammartino. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. That was my mark out moment.
That's amazing, man. Well, once again, thank you for coming on the show. Let them know again where they can follow you and your shows you got coming up, man.
Well, I got one the 19th. That's in Peabody, Massachusetts, Blaney Ave in Peabody. The great Sabu is going to be there. We've got a fundraiser on the 28th. We're going to be down there in Warwick, Rhode Island. You can look for that on Live Pro Wrestling. We got a real good show coming up with Teddy Goods and Live Pro Wrestling. I believe it's going to be June 30th, and that's going to be down on the beach at Cisco, down in New Bedford. The last time we were down there, that place was mobbed because it's free. The show is open and it's free. It was great. I hope to see you at a show, my friend. I'll be looking forward to that.
I got to make my way down there, man. I definitely got to make my way down that way to check it out, bro.
You come down and we're going to Kowloon for dinner.
Sounds good to me, my brother.
Thank you,
Always
brother.
a pleasure, man. Take care, John.
God bless. Take care. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, have a good one.